Hi everyone, it's Martha here from Create Right. Glad to be back. It's been a while. I was taking a bit of a break over the summer months. Wasn't very well, so I'm now back on the mend. I have a couple of questions that I wanted to answer for some people. I had a question on the Moleskine journals and the Wheel of the Year, and I also had a question about a tarot deck, so I want to cover that. This could end up being a two-parter, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to start with the Moleskine journals. Yes, I'm still in my Moleskine journals. I love them, will always love them. I had a particular journal that I was using for the Wheel of the Year and following the Wheel of the Year, and I tended to just gravitate towards my journal. Every time I was writing anything about the Wheel of the Year, I tended to just come to my journal. I realise now I just want to work in one. I don't want to have separate journals. So it's a lesson for next year, because I will definitely be following the Wheel of the Year again next year. I haven't given up my Traveller's Notebooks, by the way. At the moment, the Traveller's Notebook that I'm using, which houses my Moleskine, is my Chic Sparrow. This is from the Odyssey line, and it is the Perseus, and it's in A5. I have this a while, but I don't use it a lot because the colour, I can't really show you with the light now at the minute, but it's a beautiful deep orange colour, perfect for Samhain. So that's what I'm using. I just house a diary at the front, my Moleskine journal. I house a notebook that is particularly for, sorry, I'll get this out, just particularly for writing ideas. And then I have two notebooks at the back. These are Midori notebooks, great notebooks. These are for D&D. I host D&D, I've said this before. Best game ever. If you're ever interested in it, get a group of people together and play it. It's amazing. But that's my Traveller's Notebook, and that's what's housing my Moleskine at the moment. Following the Wheel of the Year has been amazing. I do a lot of journaling on it. I'm going to do a video, but towards the end of the year, because I would like to kind of go into the experience of it and what it really means to follow the Wheel of the Year. But I've always had a little altar on the sideline here. It kind of tends to move rooms where I keep my tarot decks, and I use my tarot decks with the Wheel of the Year. So every section, like recently we were in the autumn equinox, obviously, I pulled cards for that time of the year. I might even post some photos, we'll see. But I use my tarot decks always with the Wheel of the Year. Let's face it, I use my tarot decks for everything actually. But it's just a pleasure to journal through the Wheel of the Year. It really makes you take notice of everything, of every aspect of life. Makes your life a little bit bigger also, because you're not just taking notice of what's happening for you, you're also seeing the wider changes that are going on. It's amazing. But you can see this is like chunking up. In a recent video I know I spoke about that I love these journals when they start to kind of bump up, and they're just gorgeous. I love them. The pens I'm using with them, I've fallen in love with these pens. These are fountain pens, and they're TWSBI Eco or TWSBI Echo pens, and they are gorgeous. I have the fine point. I find these are the best if you're using the Moleskine journals, because everybody complains about the paper quality. These ghost, but I like the ghosting. I actually think it adds to the beauty of the journal. So totally love it. I just happened to pop one of my pens up here, and the other one is actually attached onto the Traveller's Notebook. Okay, I have a couple of things to get through, so I'm conscious of the time. I had a question also about a particular tarot deck, and this deck that I was asked about was the Deviant Moon Tarot. It comes in a little tuck box like that. you know, your standard tuck box, nothing out of the ordinary, and it has a little white book. But I was asked about this deck because it normally comes with a white border around it. It's quite beautiful as well with the white border, but this particular one is actually the borderless edition. I didn't modify it, and it's readily available on Amazon. The black on the edges I just did with a black Sharpie. Take your time, do it one card at a time, and this deck is just amazing. Very, very dark, but in a good way. It's beautiful. I love it so much. The art is really weird, and it's by Patrick Valenza. Totally love his stuff. The colours are so vivid on this deck, and I can assure you that the camera is not picking up or doing justice to these at all, because they're just stunning. And it is dark. I will admit that it is dark, but it reads like a dream, and sometimes reads like a dream. But it's beautiful. Like, look at the death card. So gorgeous. That's just so gorgeous. It is really nice borderless actually, but as I said, it's readily available, and for this time of the year, it's just a really beautiful deck. But to be honest, I find myself pulling out this deck at particular times and at any time of the year. It's not just because this is autumn and we're coming into Samhain. I've heard a lot lately about, you know, soul decks, and recently, as I said, over the summer I wasn't 100%, and the deck that actually really has stood out for me and that I love and adore so much is the Medicine Woman Tarot. And if I was to say that I had a soul deck, then this is the deck that would be my soul deck. Have you seen decks with better artwork? Totally, I sure have. But this deck reads so intensely and so accurately, and it is so comforting. It's insane. But I love this deck, and I will never ever be without this deck, I hope, as long as I live, because it is without a doubt my soul deck. There is a book to go with it, and I would say that if you are going to get this deck, get the book. I got this second hand. As you can see, it's pretty battered, but the book is probably one of the best tarot books I have. Okay, now some other decks that I'm working with the Moonchild Tarot. This very much came out for me for the autumn. This deck is beautiful. It's photo manipulation. Really gorgeous. That would not normally be an art style I would like, by the way, but it's just stunning. It's just beautiful. Let me find you the Queen of Wands. When you see this, I mean, the colours that are in this deck are just so stunning. It's just beautiful. But I would highly recommend it. There is a sister deck to this called the Star Child, which I also love. I have the borderless edition of that, and I have the bordered edition, which I actually prefer. And I'll do maybe a video on that again. But this is the Moonchild Tarot, and I'm working with this at the minute. Those are the backs, and it's gilded in this beautiful kind of a matte gold. It's gorgeous. You'll have seen it before. The other deck I'm working with, and I'm working with this for a specific reason, because I'm actually really delving deep into Irish kind of history and folklore and everything at the minute, really called to it at the minute. So I'm working with the Crow Tarot. Now, if any of you know your Irish legends and myths, you'll know why I'm working with the Crow Tarot. I'm working with the Crow Tarot because I'm also rereading a lot of stories with the Morrigan, and her triple aspect of Anu and Baive and Macha, and I had to bring out this deck for it as well. I actually am reading a book. I got a book to go with it. This is called The Celtic Lore and Spellcraft of the Dark Goddess, Invoking the Morrigan. Very good book. I would recommend it. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of resources online as well, if you're interested in the Morrigan. And this time of the year, I always kind of delve into her world. But this is actually a very, very good book, and I'm really enjoying it. It surprised me. Another book I'm also working with at the minute is Christopher Penczak. If I am murdering the name, please excuse me. It's The Inner Temple of Witchcraft. I'm really enjoying this as well. This is just, it's supposed to last for like a year and a day, and there are progressive lessons to learn as you go along, and I'm really enjoying it. There is some other books in this series, and I'm in the process of getting them because I was very impressed with this one, and it's very adaptable, and I really like that. Now I'm kind of on the way through it, so what I would say to you is, if you're interested, I will do another video on these books because I actually think they deserve it. They're very good, very well written. So that's kind of it for me at the moment. Oh, the only other deck that I am using at the minute, and as you can see, this is, okay, it came out a little bit wonky, but I knit and I crochet my bags for my tarot cards. I just do it for myself. I don't have an Etsy shop or any of that crack, but I'm just saying, get out your needles, get out your crochet needles. If you have tarot, knit your bags. You'll have great fun doing it. Plus it really bonds you to your deck. This is the Llewellyn Tarot, and I have modified it, as you can see. There are no names or anything like that on it, or numbers actually. But if you know the Rider-Waite system, you will be fine with this. This deck is beautiful, and it's based on the Welsh legends as opposed to anything Irish. But sometimes we're connected, our folklore can be connected in certain ways. But this is beautiful and reads like a dream, It's beautiful. But when it's modified, it's just such a handy little deck. And I find it's less of a distraction having the borders and even the names or numbers on it, and you can just kind of go into the images, and I love that. I think they're beautiful. They're so gorgeous. It's so lovely. So I'm kind of using that on the sideline as well. So that's it for me. That's everything I'm kind of using at the minute. Sorry I was so long in coming back, but maybe I will talk about that in another video. But I had a bit of a hiccup over the summer, and I just kind of retreated from everything. But I'm back on the mend now, and I've lots of ideas for over the autumn. And I do hope you had a lovely autumn equinox, and Samhain is coming, and if you love Samhain as much as I do, you'll be getting out the witch's hat and the broom. So until next time, get out your journals, start journaling, and write your heart out as always, and I shall see you next time. Be good. Bye.